Gerald Carey, in his website, Debunking Brain Myths, wrote of several myths about education and the brain. The one that I'm going to be focusing on today is that homework boosts achievement. Carey cited Cooper, 2006, who is a leading expert in the relationship between homework and student achievement. Homework completion may aid test performance because teachers often create tests using material that is similar to homework material. That is the end of the positive correlation. A positive correlation does not necessarily mean causality. No evidentiary correlation is apparent between homework and achievement. No correlation between homework completion and standardized tests can be found either. What causes high test scores is the motivation and drive of the students, not the homework. A student who is motivated will complete homework, but that does not mean they will score well on tests. At a previous school that I worked for, depending on the grade level, students were assigned a certain set time worth of homework each night for core classes. So a freshman would receive 30 minutes of homework per core class, and by the time they were seniors, it would be up towards, an hour's worth of homework per core class, and the non-core classes could also assign homework, which meant that the students were dealing with somewhere around 4 hours of homework each night. Did not leave time for any extracurricular activities. There's no time for anything else, and part of the problem that we're dealing with is that students don't have active lives. They're sedentary. Obesity is high. Miriam Clifford, on her website in 2012, says that homework should not be given out over the holidays. 20 reasons why homework should not be given out over the holidays. However, I believe that you could take this a little further. Assigning homework for a prescribed amount of time, say 1 hour for every core hour class, goes against what the National Education Association says is the maximum amount of time a student should have. It also goes against Carey's recommendation and Cooper from 2006. They recommend, the National Education Association recommends no more than 10 minutes of homework per grade level. So if you equate that, first grade would be 10 minutes total. Second grade would be 20 minutes total, continuing on. Clifford's article focused on why teachers should not assign homework over the holidays, but I believe that you could apply it to almost any situation during the school year. Now, I'm not advocating getting rid of homework. It has some very viable, practical uses. But she makes several excellent points, and I will highlight several of those here. Number one, students are learning all the time in the 21st century. We should be piquing their interest and encouraging them to do research to bolster their interest in learning. Number two, there is a very weak link between homework and achievement. Excessive homework is counterproductive, and Clifford cites a Duke University study from 2008 to back up her statement. It's more beneficial to older students. Younger students, it's not beneficial to. Instead, younger students should be taught to learn study skills instead. Assigning more homework does not help students achieve versus foreign students. Countries like Japan and Denmark and the Czech Republic outperformed countries that require large amounts of homework like Greece, Thailand, and Iran. In the U.S., we tend to assign more homework than many other countries, but we are still only scoring in the average internationally. 4, worksheets are mostly busy work. They don't equate to student learning. If you assign homework, it should add something to the context of the class, not just give them something to do. Number 5, Clifford discusses how holiday time is family time, but I argue that it is important for there to be family time throughout the school year. Again, if you need to assign homework, make sure it's not excessive and it's meaningful. 6, to go along with family time, kids need to be kids. Kids need to play every day, exercise. They need to be able to go outside. So they should limit TV time, play a family game. Get parents involved in this step. Get parents involved in helping with homework. It will create available family time for everyone. Now, I'm not saying do away with homework, but limit it, make it meaningful. How can we help students learn if we are overloading them and not making it a meaningful process? Now, as far as the cognitive science behind this goes, in How People Learn by Benedict Carey, on pages 82 and 83, we have the fluency myth. You believe you know everything about a topic, and you take the test and you fail miserably. Just because you think you know the information now does not mean that you will know it in the future. This is complacency. The easier it is to remember now, the more likely it is you're not going to be able to remember it later. According to Carey, the harder a memory is to dig out, the more learning takes place. Repeating facts right after learning them gives you no added benefit to memory. Hence, homework is not as useful as teachers would believe. This also ties into the spacing effect as described on pages 66 and 75 of Carey's book. Distributed learning can double the amount we remember later on. This has to do with storage and retrieval strength. The harder the brain has to work, the better the memory is embedded into our minds. This adds contextual cues, which also help us retrieve memories. And each time we access the memory, we actually make it stronger, but it has to have context. Also, it brings us to the forget to learn theory on page 25. Forgetting a huge chunk of what we've just learned, especially when it's a brand new topic, is not necessarily a sign of laziness, attention deficits, or a faulty character. On the contrary, it's a sign that the brain is working as it should. We have to give our brain time to forget things so we can work to remember them and make the memory stronger. Again, anytime we retrieve a memory, we change it. We make it stronger. Meaningful homework does this, but busy work does not.